What's up, everybody? It's Jake and Becca and Xander. We're here bringing you another episode of To Boldly Watch, but this is the secret video side, so this intro is just for you. Thanks for coming.
Congratulations.
You nailed it. Xander gets to do the intro every time now.
Yeah.
Yeah, great audition, Xander. That was wonderful. No regrets.
Thank you.
Man.
This is my bid for maybe moving up to a full commander, maybe not lieutenant commander.
Actually, this was going to be a full body thing, so can you maybe zoom
Don't!
it out a little bit?
The trauma. For those watching, I had an audition that happened, and boy, did I tear this green screen down fast.
That's a green screen?
I'm in San Francisco right now at headquarters.
San Francisco.
Yeah, from Big Hero 6.
Best future city ever.
Very good.
I feel like half the time that I have important meetings, the shirt is appropriate, but the shorts are not, and they don't know about the shorts, you know? Especially living in California like we do.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, yeah, very much so. I don't even wear shorts anymore.
What?
Yeah. It's just free.
Nice. We're all looking down as we've never seen
What's on here?
Whoa!
Hard to tell. Wow,
That's
so
right.
my hair is less pink, I guess, is an update, but Xander's is more pink.
Kind of,
Yeah.
but we're in a similar area if I
Oh.
pull back like that.
Your floof, though, it helps.
Yeah, my floof helps.
How
Okay.
long does that generally last? Or does it fade out as your hair grows? Or
Yeah, it's the
mean-
roots coming in.
right.
It's the speed of hair growth.
Right.
I know, but like, does it fade as well on your longer hair too?
Mm-hmm. And you can do other things to change that process with like deposit conditioners or showering with cold water, which I refuse to do.
Yeah, I'm not that kind of person. I don't have
Nope.
that kind of strength.
And I don't care that much.
I did do that for like a week, and I was like, "Why? Why am
Yeah.
I doing this? There's no point
Hoff.
to this."
It will help to preserve your hair color if you'd like.
It helps with many things. It'll help you live forever. It'll help you, overcome these mortal concerns.
Yes,
Wow.
I do like appreciate that of like living in a little bit of discomfort and like becoming immune to that. I get it, but it's like,
Yeah.
but showers, I need that warm water down my neck for like a good 10 minutes while I think about conversations I haven't had.
Yes.
It
you
can
know-
calm itchy skin, wake you up,
Oh,
increase circulation, reduce muscle soreness post-workout, boost weight loss, give you glowing hair and skin. And that's just before I clicked on any articles.
Is this from facts.com? What is this?
This is Becca's TED Talk.
Helpline.com.
I will not be linking that in the description of this one.
Acknowledge them.
right.
Yeah, it definitely will wake you up. I'll give them that one. I remember that.
Know what else will wake you up? Romulan ale.
Nice segue. Not this synth swill.
Yeah.
Great. No, it's that's right. It's the Defector.
Don't worry, I'm taking time code notes today.
Oh, good.
Oh, sweet.
This one's called Segue.
Nice. The Enterprise grants asylum to a defector from the Romulan Empire who claims to have vital information concerning a renewed Romulan offensive against the Federation.
But first, Shakespeare.
Yay!
How random.
I was watching this and I was like, of course Picard would program an NPC to look like him. Just so that also Patrick Stewart could get some of those acting chops in there because this was his idea somewhere.
Yeah, so that was Patrick Stewart in a wig and warty makeup, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Of course. You know what? Originally, and I feel bad about this, I thought it was the scene at the beginning of Hamlet when then there's the two guards on the top of the parapet and then they see the ghost of King Hamlet.
Which would have been
Hamlet's
cool.
dad.
Yeah. Hamlet's dad.
But it wouldn't have been as relevant for a callback reference later because Henry V is leading his men into battle, and this is the part of the Christmas Day speech, or that's the whole
Yep.
army?
Well, that's
This
the
isn't
whole
the
army, I
Christmas
think.
Day.
Right.
Yeah.
This is like
It's the same.
just chatting with some plebes.
Right. Just
Well, remember,
hey,
yeah,
what are
it's-
you doing? What are you doing?
Who's ready to die, huh?
Yeah?
Huh?
We in?
If
Oh,
your
down for
cousin's
dying?
not ready to die, he's not invited.
How about that king? He's awesome, right? I heard he has an 8-pack.
Maybe even a 10-pack.
Ooh.
But I do love all the parallels they're weaving here, right? Because they have this admiral, who turns out to be an admiral later, disguised as like a lower level clerk, and then they have Picard, lamenting earlier that he couldn't just be among the rest of the crew because he has to make these big decisions from the command post. So they're already setting this up early on, which I like.
Yeah,
I believe
well,
originally. Go ahead.
Just to comment on that quick too, because not only was he pretending to be a low-level clerk, he actually was a low-level clerk because of where he was stationed and stuff. So
Right.
it was like an admiral or a king among the common people.
I did not see that parallel until you said it.
Well,
I did a really good job focusing this episode. Just want everybody to know.
Sure.
Hey, you write those time codes.
Yeah.
This one's called Becca's Lost #1.
Originally, I believe it was supposed to be a Sherlock Holmes scene. And I think as we discussed when they did Elementary Dear Data, they were afraid of the copyright
Elementary
issues.
Dear who?
Data.
It's
Dear Data.
his name.
Guys, it was just a slip.
Well, it's important.
No,
Please
if
forgive me.
we didn't do it, everyone else would.
Yeah, that's true. In Elementary Dear Data, we talked about this, I believe, in our Talkback episode, which is I think they were afraid of the rights issues with the Sherlock Holmes stuff, so they stopped doing it. But thankfully, Shakespeare's been out of copyright for quite some time.
Public domain.
Rolly wheel went over tail.
Oh, that's what that was.
Yeah.
I thought you made that noise.
I did too.
Oh.
Sorry, what were we talking about? Star Trek?
No,
Yeah.
this is good.
It was supposed to be Sherlock Holmes, and they were worried about copyright.
Right. So they changed it to this, and I mean, I could, then you can see the process of how this probably got brought up as like Patrick Stewart's like, well, I belong to the Royal Shakespeare Company, so we can put on a few scenes.
Well, how much do you think of usage of Shakespeare in popular culture comes from actual homage to the bard, and how much comes from the fact that it is now royalty free?
I think column A, column B. There was the same argument for what was It's a Wonderful Life, because is it really a great movie, or did it just have was it cheap to put on, so all the stations did, and then it became a classic?
I think it's both.
I have a strong opinion about this because I watch it every Christmas Eve. It is one of the best movies of all time.
There you go. And people have strong opinions about Shakespeare.
Nice way to stay neutral, Xander. Way to
They
mention
love
the
it?
controversy, but stay out of it.
I just like to watch.
They love it or they know nothing of it. Those are the choices. Yeah.
All right. Well, so yes, we also have a lesson for Data in this, right? Is about let's see. It was about his studies of the human condition, right? But he's doing it through trying to find an acting method, and Picard's trying to dissuade him to instead listen to the text and listen to what's happening in this story.
Picard just wants to direct and found a willing pupil.
It's true.
What an enthusiastic director too. He's just off camera like, yes, more, yes, good.
Yeah. But I love
Mouthing
his
the words
snarky remarks when Data's like, "Hey, do you think I could put this on for the rest of them?" And he's like, well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Yeah.
Not with my in the director's line.
He totally is. Data did a great job. I was expecting a way worse performance from him. He nailed it. He had inflection, intonation. He had expression.
He did.
That's Brent.
That was Brent. Brent
showing
did
off
too well,
for his buddy Patty. You don't think people call him that?
Patty.
I'm sure they called each other Brent
Sir
and
Patty,
Patty. Yeah. Sir Patty. Was he a sir by this point?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
He knew though.
He knew.
He started having people call him that years before.
So we get off the holodeck because guess what? That's where we were. We weren't actually in Shakespeare time.
What?
I knew it.
We've intercepted a scout ship fleeing the neutral zone, right? Or is it fleeing Romulan space into the neutral zone? I'm not quite sure. Yeah, fleeing into Federation territory, which is why they're allowed to capture it, right?
Right. They're on the edge of the neutral zone coming into Federation territory.
Right. Followed closely by a Romulan warbird, which we've only seen a couple times at this point. Man, they're such cool models. I love the Romulan warbird models.
I wish we could have one as a specimen to climb aboard and
Yeah.
maybe learn something about the way they build their ships.
Yeah. We should probably get a crew over there right away. Whoa.
Thank goodness they didn't right away, because if anything happened to Geordi,
I know.
I'd have a death list.
No one really
riots.
acknowledged that. Like, everybody kind of looked at Picard like, you should say you're sorry right now, right? Like,
Yeah.
we're not going to acknowledge that Geordi almost went over there right now.
Okay, but you know what? They would have beamed back in time. That happened on a Klingon ship one time. They made it. They figured
She's
it
getting
out.
the cannon. Nice, Becca.
Nice recovery.
Yeah,
or
yeah,
recall.
The scout ship is piloted by a Romulan defector, we learn. And when we hail him, because the warbird won't answer our calls. And we hail him, and it's this very, like, there's an intense firefight as he's like fleeing from the neutral zone. And we go to a screen that's very stable, and it's him in a very stable room, and he's pushing buttons very furiously on what looks like something the size of a calculator. And like the poor actor, like that's what he's been given. So he's doing a great job with what he's been given, but it looks so silly because nothing is happening exciting in the frame except his fingers being pressed down furiously.
Listen, Jake, all this tells us is that Romulans have advanced inertial dampeners that you don't feel like it should be.
Yeah, they have great shocks on those things.
Inertial dampeners. I get it now.
And they're far advanced with screen sizes. They just get smaller and smaller.
That makes sense.
That's true. Just for the matter of
Glasses get better and
convenience.
better.
Yeah.
Just a little Apple Watch screen. That's all he's
Right.
manipulating.
Beep, beep, boop.
Yeah, the initial dampeners, Becca, you realize, like, listening to this more and more, and Xander's a master of this, of like the technobabble does have a logic to it, right?
Yeah.
Even if it
There are
isn't
rules.
technically possible, it is conceptually possible, at least by their definition of what the word is, like artificial gravity and such.
Yeah.
Artificial gravity is the one I'm always like, yeah, they got to explain that one. That one's a tough one.
Well, see,
Right.
it's gravity that's synthesized. So.
Obviously. That's what elevates it from babble to technobabble.
Right.
Thank you, Xander.
No problem.
I
Here.
understand now. We beam him on board. The warbird retreats because we're in Federation territory. A little suspicious, but whatever.
Yeah, they better. What are they even doing in neutral territory?
Now we're asking the question.
I like how indignant you got, as if it's not like
Excuse
the
me.
bad guys.
A Federation ship can't go into neutral territory
Right?
without incurring the conflict. How come this warbird just gets to do what it pleases?
It's
I want an apology.
Yeah, I demand one.
it's the violation of the treaty, just called not fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We beam aboard the defector, and he immediately demands, instead of his need for medical attention, that he speaks to the captain and has important things to talk about. And it turns out that he says that he is defecting because the Romulans are about to launch an offensive that would escalate the war, that would start the war. It's a little unclear because they always say they're at war.
It
but
would
then they're
warm
like,
it up.
Yeah, it would, I guess so.
Warm it.
Ding.
I mean, that's just a metaphor. There's no pun there. I love it. They're going to launch an offensive, right? And so he briefs us.
Yeah, well, he says that there's like a secret base that's hidden on this planet in the neutral zone that the Romulans have been building up under the Federation's noses, that they have been using cloaking technology potentially to hide this, and that sometime soon there's going to be a big reveal about all of these warbirds that are actually around this planet in the neutral zone that will come and be on the offensive.
That's it.
That's it. And the whole time we get Gates McFadden's incredible hand acting with that medical sensor and dermal regenerator.
It's not easy to really make us feel like you're healing stuff with those.
Did you notice their little like look towards each other when she mentioned that with his metabolism the pain should go away soon, and he's like, "Thank you, doctor." There was originally in one of their first drafts of the scripts a romance between them, or at least like a romantic tension between them.
No.
What?
That would have been
Well,
cool.
they got rid of it.
That makes it, well, yeah, he doesn't have the same brows that I respect in many Romulans.
We had enough. He doesn't have the same brow.
There was like a double brow thing happening, which I liked.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's not as hot. Typically I'd say strong brows are a sign of strong integrity.
I need to work on my brows.
You typically say
well-
that? I've never heard you say that.
I say it once a day as I do my makeup.
In the mirror.
Just reciting different facial features that are important for a good personality.
As you fill them in.
That's right.
Different
Fake it
cheerfulness.
to make it.
Lips are very important to the personality.
I do think eyebrows are super important and very distinct. That's why those Romulans and those Vulcans kind of stand out in that way.
I just trust them more than most Federation members.
But the relationship in the sickbay scene isn't really the relationship we're concerned about in the sickbay scene isn't so much Crusher, it's actually with Worf, right? And that animosity that Romulans and Klingons have for each other, which is a little seed that kind of gets dropped and will plant into an interesting plot development later on, right?
Yeah. Well, this is also the seed of where we get this exploration of facts and bias on where these facts are coming from. One culture's massacre is another's savior, like hero type of thing. So this is where it starts, and then we have that same sort of discussion throughout the episode.
Yeah, and I love
trust Klingons because you know why?
What?
The brows.
Oh.
You know what?
Also-
I love the respect that he has for understanding where Worf is coming from, even though he's the downfall of society, supposedly.
Well, that's what they set up in a interesting way, this character, because you simultaneously trust him and don't trust him. And I think you trust him because like you have an instinct of like, well, he did defect in some way and he is on board the Enterprise and he is trying to share information, whether it's true or not, was yet to find out. But there's also some integrity to him in some way. He's mean and he's rude and he's like only really responds to authority, right? But he also genuinely wants to speak of peace and he's pretty forward about that. So there's something mysterious about the guy.
He memorized all the Klingon swear words.
Only a Hawkwhatsit would do that.
Ptah!
I didn't write it
Xander.
down.
Sorry, excuse
That's
me.
my
I'm
own
so
word.
sorry.
That.
Oh, thank you.
The Patreons get it. Unbelievable.
I got the one button, and I'm gonna use
That's
it.
your one button.
Yeah. Speaking of the one button that they didn't use, I wrote the note, Troi could have been used way more and way sooner in this whole ordeal.
Oh, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
She was in this episode?
They had her in like the interrogation room with Riker. And
Yeah.
it was so underutilized. I was like, she can read emotions. She can like tell if he's telling the truth. What is this?
That was a weird
Usually
scene
a
in general.
defector, especially one that you need to determine whether they're lying or not. That's a clutch Troi situation.
Right?
Also, one she does all the time. Like usually, even by the teaser, she's like, "He's lying."
Yeah.
Like she's on
Yeah.
top of that all the time. You're right, Xander. I didn't even think of that.
But we do come on to learn that he truly believes in the things that he's saying. To himself, he's telling the truth, and he's not being deceptive in any way.
Right. Like there's something going on as the crew starts to figure out because the Warbird like didn't really actively pursue him when they check in on like the
Right.
velocity of it on the pursuit, right?
So this is where we should have taken these clues and determined he thinks he knows the truth, but he's really just a pawn.
There. But that doesn't really occur to pretty much anyone until way later.
Did it occur to both of you?
No, I thought
I didn't see this ending coming.
Yeah, I appreciated this ending and the resolution to it because there was sort of like a stereotypical format to it, and you think like, oh well, it's Romulan, so ultimately they're the bad guys. Something's gonna go wrong on the planet, and da da da. But I didn't know what, or I couldn't remember what exactly happened.
I believe there would be a base.
Yeah,
Me and Geordi both,
Right.
And that's never a bad boat to be in.
in the guts.
Yeah. Your guts are based on your subconscious and your collective memory that tells you things that you're not even consciously thinking about. That's what he should tell Data. Data
Right.
has access to all of his subconscious, so he has a gut as well.
But is it
got
that like
super
Data
guts.
treats all of his data, and I mean that way,
Right.
as equal? He doesn't like have a distinction between what is a fact and what is like his memory, because those are facts in a historical record to him.
Either we have explored that or we will explore that in the future, where Data will have to like pick and choose things to either keep and like, but we've explored that his experiences enhance whatever memories he has. So being there and experiencing the things, I think,
But that's what I'm saying.
denotes-
Like, isn't that just more data for data, right? Isn't that
That's
just
true.
more of the same? Like the distinction that Becca makes, which I think is accurate, is like, and Jordy obviously does too, is like, it's a different layer of knowledge, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes, I was gonna say, Becca, I heard that. So if we ever need to read, you can also pause and we can retake too if you want to re-say that.
For the people watching on YouTube, I have a very loud lawnmower right outside my window. Perfect timing to record a podcast.
I don't think I can necessarily use that one sentence yet because I heard it in the background. But we can also just pause for a second if they're going to be done in a second.
Dance break?
Absolutely, dance break.
Here,
Let's all go
just
full
say
camera.
what you think I would say in response to everything you say, and let's continue.
Just
Okay.
see the conversation. Get you a bunch of clips of I agree.
Yeah. We do get to see it's all like sort of behind the scenes, but we do see Troi and Crusher sort of working together, coming in the conclusion of all of this too, which is nice.
Well, wait, what? We do? I always thought it was like the Worf angle because like Picard had like this secret thing with Worf where he's like, come to my wedding, come to my wedding room, come to my wedding womb, come to my ready room,
Mr.
and like
Wolf.
that scene ended, right? So we knew something was going on, and then the Klingons contacted the Enterprise, and all that was mentioned was, hey, go handle that, Worf. So we know something's cooking.
Yeah.
What's the Troi Crusher scene?
It's still thinking about that one where they're in the leotards and they're stretching and they know all the moves.
Just in figuring out the conclusion of what happened with him either being implanted with some memory or something, they used like the medical scans and things like that along with the psychological profile.
Waika,
Right?
come to my wedding womb.
Hey, Waika, I want to be on a away team.
It was already.
But yeah, the very end, the surprise is that the Klingons have cloaking technology as well, and they come in a company.
Is that the secret that they also have cloaking technology, or is the twist the fact that they were gonna be involved? Right, like Picard saw this coming in some way.
And Picard is always a smarty with an ace up his sleeve, but the plan was. Well, Klingons already are at war with Romulans, is that right? So it's not Federation stepping in and breaking their treaty. It's just them having backup that isn't afraid to fire.
I think they're all in a Cold War, right?
I think so. It's messy.
Yeah.
Treaties often are.
But yeah, I think that an attack from the Klingons would be less consequential than an attack from the Federation.
Because one of them
starting
will
a war.
end.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
Well, what do you guys think if you were establishing an international treaty about someone deceiving the other party to make them break the wording of the treaty? Shouldn't treaties have caveats for trickery be damned?
Yeah, it's called no shenanigans. But that's what the Romulans are always pulling. They're shenanigan machines.
Yeah, and if it was in today's current U.S. politics, it would be a no malarkey clause.
Boy, I'm so glad we popularized that term. Like, it really
No
is
malarkey.
out there in the zeitgeist.
He said it once, and no one will let him
He
live
put
it
it on
down.
a bus or something, too, didn't he?
Yeah, for people who don't live in the U.S., that Biden said malarkey one time, and now we will always say malarkey. You know that. You hang out with us.
Yeah, and you say it all the time. You get it. That's part of your vocabulary. I kind of loved this guy's complex story. And how it gets revealed over the whole course of the episode. The middle was like potentially really slow, but they kept kind of giving us little tidbits of possibilities of things with him, and you always were kind of doubting your conclusions. At least I was always doubting my conclusions.
Well, can you imagine making one big choice because you think it's going to save hundreds of lives, thousands of lives, but then later having to reflect on the fact that you've given up, the fact that you have no home, you have no family, you have no you really anymore, because our sense of self is tied to all those things and the way other people see us, and you're giving all that up for something very thankless.
This to me actually reminds me of something happening in the world today with Alexei Navalny, who's a political prisoner in Russia, who's like went back to Russia after escaping and like avoiding
From being
assassination.
poisoned.
Yeah, avoiding assassination, and went back to like face the charges against him, which are like fabricated to pretty much keep him as a political prisoner. And now he's like on a hunger strike right now. And so he's kind of the same way. He went back willingly. He had a life. He and his wife were out of the country, and he went back to for his country because he's trying to make a statement about what he wants, which is reform and peace, you know? And that's kind of what
he's married. Maybe she made the bigger sacrifice there.
They both are making sacrifices. I don't know if I can compare them, but regardless, like the sacrifice that this character is making is so important, and in the distinction that he keeps making when Picard's like, well, if you want to defect, and he's like, I'm not defecting to hurt the Romulan Empire. I'm defecting because I don't want you all to go to war. I don't want anybody to be hurt. I want my child to grow up. I loved that speech about being a father too, and like. Yeah. He could have just straight out answered him, but he didn't answer Picard's question. Instead, he like told the story, and that provided the answer. And that was really a wonderful exchange.
There were quite a few lines that he had that were very like Shakespearean and amazing.
That doesn't seem like an accident.
This is also one that breaks format in that there wasn't really a B plot. It was pretty much only the A plot of this one.
Which is why it was kind of dull.
Well, see, that's the thing. Like, there were kind of like, it was an A plot that what they do in season 3 is the B and the C are so related to the A plot now that they feel like they're all kind of one thing. But like, there was kind of the investigation nature of like them also figuring out what the diplomatic side of what was going on in addition to his mystery, right? Whether Picard was speaking with the admiral or working with Worf or like Crusher and the team figuring out
and the engineering plot of exploring the planet, sending drones, figuring out if there really is a star base, which there was not, just a cloaked drone.
Right. So instead of there being like a whole B plot, it's like all these little B plots that were in service to the A, which
I like when they tie together in a neat bow, but I don't like when they're just derivative subplots.
Yeah, because that's, I think, the change in that when we've had the B plot before, it was like a refresher or like a palate cleanser from one story to another. And when they're related too closely, then it feels like just one story moving forward, rather than later when they come together, you didn't see them intersecting. There's a bit of a with that as well. But I do like that they changed formats. Like if it was always the same, then that magic would not work either.
Yes and no. I mean, formulas have been proven on unscripted American television to work.
It's true.
Also, I feel like the real secret sauce is just always have sparkly unitards in your B-plot. You're welcome.
I like that's a demand for every episode now. It's like, well, we need one of these scenes in here.
Yeah. And then we do have an ending scene where we find out that he does take his own life, which is a little bit disappointing, I think. But ultimately, we find that, Picard and the rest of them respected what he did and that the sacrifice really was worth something.
That was Chekhov's candy tablet.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wrote that it was an antacid. So like when he gets on board the ship, we see when he goes to his quarters that he's been given that he pulls something out of his boot, and the audience is led to believe through a little bit of music, honestly, that like he has ulterior motives, right? Or there's something that he's gonna do. But we learn later that it was a suicide tablet of some sort. So
the campiness of this show in general, which I love and is earnest and was of the time period, is a lot to do with the soundtrack. If we completely re-soundscaped this show, it wouldn't feel as campy. You can do things to subvert expectation with audio. I just heard an interview with Misha Green, who was the showrunner for Lovecraft Country, and I'm a really big fan of that show.
Yeah.
And they did really interesting stuff with their soundscape where they take spoken word poetry, or they take, like very juxtaposed or sometimes very blatant, like just spoken word that was talking about something very much what they want you to feel from the scene, but not like literally saying it, something tangential in a way that, anyway, when they play a boom boom when you
Yeah.
see his death tablet. It spells it out when if it was a different music choice, we would feel like it's more modern.
But did they spell out what it was? Because it was still mysterious, right? Like, we didn't know, and it
We've
led us to
seen-
like distrust.
I wrote suicide tablet.
Oh.
Did you really?
Yeah. What else would it be? Either that or a bomb.
I thought it was. Yeah, I thought it was a device or like a bug or something.
Yeah, we've seen people
virus.
assemble whole like machine guns out of their boots.
Yeah, that's right. The
Yeah.
Klingons.
Well,
Their belt
when you're,
buckles were disruptors or something.
Yeah.
when you're a defector going into the enemy's ship, you kind of need a plan B. And
Yeah.
you're right. All of those things would be plan B, but the simplest plan B is peace out.
Well, I love that.
Kamikaze.
I love that aspect of like his dilemma too, because he blows up his own ship and he also won't tell them any of the secrets. Like Picard's like, tell us how to defeat a warbird. He's like, I'm loyal to the Empire. I know I'm defecting, but I'm loyal to what their survival, right? And like it's crazy that it doesn't get through to them, and eventually it does. And so then we have this resolution where it turns out the Romulans are ambushing us at the moon, and the same commander that we saw a few episodes back with, was it the enemy?
I don't remember the episode title.
Yeah, I think it was
ambush on the moon.
yeah. Commander Tomalak, I believe his name was. Yeah.
Tamalak.
Yeah. And they pretty much get into a standoff where there's gonna be some mutually assured destruction. And Picard pulls his ace out of his sleeve, as we said, and the birds of prey are there.
Well, the actual ace up the sleeve was that he convinced this admiral to share some Romulan secrets, because like you said, he was saying that he wasn't defecting, but then he let them in on their their frequencies and stuff like that, and said that he was being cooperative, so they could form a plan and like combat tactics and things like that.
I was confused by that. I thought it was a bluff at first. I thought he was like, because we didn't hear him give any of that, which honestly would be too much exposition and they don't need the scene anyway. It felt like there was another mystery that was happening. Like he was working with, but like, why would Picard deceive his own crew? So I was kind of confused by that. Just the delivery of it felt super weird. But
well, I felt like it was him giving in, of like Picard got through at the end. We just didn't see the breakthrough.
Yeah.
He always does.
He always does.
So you were disappointed by the ending, Xander?
No, I loved the ending.
Oh,
I was disappointed.
I loved the ending too. I was disappointed, I guess, in the choice to have the character go through with it and not have to like live and go through with those consequences. But I see what they were doing, and it allowed the Enterprise crew to sort of express their feelings about the character after the fact. Yeah, I was like, I didn't find this episode campy at all, but like I also wasn't like emotionally moved by it until the very ending. Yeah, when like Picard's mentioning about the letter to his daughter, and like someday they'll take the letter home. I was like, oh,
that is a nice sentiment.
Damn it, Star Trek.
Yeah.
Well, and it shows that the character had hope.
Right. Yeah. I really liked this episode, and I feel like some of this comes back into play in future Star Trek. Does some of this come back in Picard at all, without spoiling anything?
Yes, you could say so.
Okay, you could say so. Well, I just did.
But this episode's all right.
Okay.
I like this one.
I did too, and I hear what you're saying about like the kind of the A plot issue, Becca, about like that was kind of the problem. But like full disclosure, we've watched the next episode, which I feel has the same problem of the A plot issue, and I liked this one more. But we'll get into that next week. Speaking of,
I love a sexy bad boy.
Oh, that's what it was for you. I should have known.
Loyalty, family, honor to your people.
If this guy's brows were only better, you would have been more.
I mean, quite honestly, yes.
Well, next week we're watching The Hunted. Let me find a better description than what's written here. I didn't write one, so I'll write what's written here.
Hot guy rebel is running away. We gotta catch him. Oop, he's better than we thought.
Nailed it.
The cadence really made me feel like you were gonna rhyme there for a second.
Oh yeah, my name is Xander. I'm here to say. Next up is The Hunted in a major way.
Wow.
Well,
okay, sir.
Thank you.
Bow to you. You are promoted to commander.
Thank you.
Here's one just for safety. An escaped prisoner leads the Enterprise crew to discover an ugly secret of a seemingly idyllic planet.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I picked Xander's.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Love it. Well, we'll set our course for another single A plot next week.
Engage.
So, oops. Engage.